Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 403. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, hi.
This week on the show, we'll be taking a look at Godzilla vs. Kong. And we'll also be going over some of what we're watching on the watch list and going over this week's new releases on VOD and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Please remember to review us on iTunes if you get a moment. That would be super helpful. Nothing to go over as far as housekeeping. We are formulating our theme for this month's Saved by the 90s. I'm pretty excited about it because I believe that we just nailed down our theme. I'm not going to give it away just yet. All right, let's dive into this movie. We're talking about Godzilla vs. Kong. It's directed by Adam Wingard. Did you know that?
I forgot that. No, I forgot. Like, I did know it.
But then you forgot.
And then I forgot. And then when the movie started, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Wingard. Moving on up, man. I remember when I first saw, what was A Horrible Way to Die? That was when I first... That was the first movie that I saw of his.
It makes me remember that I think what I remember him from is the cinematographer for Swanberg's Marriage Material.
Mm-hmm.
Going from that to Godzilla vs. Kong.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a nice climb. It's been a nice trajectory. I mean, like, each one of his movies has been like progressively more like, I don't want to say mainstream, but it is kind of like a little bit bigger, like going from You're Next to The Guest to Blair Witch and then to Death Note. Like, Death Note was awful, but it was, you know, certainly it seemed to have a pretty big budget. That was the Netflix one. And then finally, you know, Godzilla vs. Kong. Now he's in the MonsterVerse. Now, you saw, I remember we reviewed I think it was the 2014 Godzilla.
Yeah.
On here. And I remember you liked it.
Yes, I did.
And we did not review the one from 2019? Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, I did see that. I believe I did talk about it on the show. I didn't like it. In fact, I hated it. But we're back now with the third entry in the Godzilla one, the Godzilla series, and it's tying in, obviously, the Kong movies. Now, you didn't see any of the Kong movies, right? Or did you?
No, and that was the thing that I realized, because early on, it was made pretty evident to me that, like, I'm missing some stuff. Like, I probably would have helped if I watched some of the new. But the other thing that I realized is I've never watched a King Kong anything. Like, I don't know shit.
You've never
King
seen
Kong.
A single King Kong movie?
Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. I just know that, like, at one point he was on top of a skyscraper with a woman.
Oh my
in his
God.
hand. That's it. That's all I know.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So
yeah, I was a little bit lost here and there.
but you don't really need. I mean, this is a movie that. So they do bring back some characters from the previous Godzilla movie, but the human aspect of this movie is a complete afterthought. Like, who cares? Who cares about the human story, really? Right? I mean, I don't really care about the human story in Godzilla vs. Kong. I care about an epic fight between Godzilla and King Kong. That's what I signed up for. And to me, it delivered big time. I had a blast with this movie. I think that it achieves exactly what it sets out to do. It is a big, brash, dumb fight movie with these two giant monsters, and I had a great time with it.
Interesting. I did not. It was weird because it up until the end, obviously, and I knew that it was going to, like, kind of build towards that.
Oh yeah, let's not spoil anything that happened because there's some surprises. Let's not go.
Yeah, but, like, I knew that it was going to build towards this big set piece, you know, the fight. You were going to keep that towards the end on the back end of this thing. But man, up until that point, I gotta say, this movie is just really pretty boring. Like, there's a lot of the human stuff, and none of it works, really. I mean, some of it does. I did appreciate the Brian Tyree Henry portion of it.
Even that,
because I like him.
I like him too. But even that to me, I thought was, I was kind of annoyed.
It's not good.
Like his character annoyed me, and I was really excited. I was really excited for Julian Dennison's character. You may know him from Hunt for the Wilder People, and he was in Deadpool 2, and he was great in that. And I was really excited that he was in this movie. I'm like, oh man, he's going to be in there providing some comic relief. He's going to be. They do nothing with his character. Like his character is so bland.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Like, I agree. I think all the human stuff sucks. Like, I could have done without all of it. The only human portion of it that I thought was even remotely interesting was with the little girl and how she has a bond with Kong and she can communicate with him. I liked that whole storyline. All the rest of it I could have done without. Especially because I love how they bring back in Kyle Chandler into this. Like, he's doing anything. He literally does nothing in this movie. Like, he serves no purpose.
Yeah. And I love any time that he's kind of like shown in the opening credits, because I know right away that he's going to play a guy that's just trying to do his job. He's trying his best, and he's under a lot of stress. And that's exactly what he does here. And he's completely pointless. And I think that that's the problem, is that the human aspect of this movie, which takes up a lot of this movie, like a lot. There's not a whole lot of fighting. There's not a whole lot of Godzilla versus Kong. There's a little tiny fight in the ocean, and then there's nothing until the end.
I don't know. I think that I think there's enough. There was enough for me. Enough for the fight scenes. Not. I mean, the clash between Godzilla and Kong. Yeah, they had like two main fights, but I think that there's other stuff in there too, where it's very Kong focused. So we get to see Kong fighting some other creatures and stuff, and I thought that was all fine. And then, there's some other big fights at the end as well, which I liked. I liked the big final fight a lot too. That it was, I had a feeling that there was going to be some surprises thrown in there, some fan service, and I really enjoyed what they did. And this is very clearly a movie made by fans for fans. I think that there's enough in here that fans of kaiju movies will have a lot of fun with it. I think that you just absolutely have to go into it knowing that the human story is just, it's nothing. It's so bland and dumb that.
Well, and I think that's kind of what I was moving towards. I was getting there. Is like, it's bad enough that you have the human portion of it takes up so much, and going into it that it's not going to be that greatly written. It's a kaiju movie. There's not going to be a great investment in the human aspect of this. Understandable. But I think the thing that makes it worse and compounds the fact is that a lot of these human characters are just really bland. I mean, Kyle Chandler, super bland. Julian Dennison's character, just super bland. Like, why get him in that role if that's all you're going to do? Alexander Skarsgård, as always, just to me, like the blandest guy in movies. Everyone is so bland. Except for me, the only ones that weren't bland were Brian Tyree Henry and Millie Bobby Brown. And like you said, I did like the where they took it with the Gia, the little girl, and her, Kaylee Hoddle. Yeah. But man, everything, so much of this is just bland, and for the runtime, I was really feeling that runtime, and I'm like, just meet up and fight, would you?
I mean, keeping it under 2 hours is the best we can hope for with a movie like this. I mean, I think
like any Hollywood movie now.
I mean, the fact that it wasn't 2.5 hours, I looked at that as a plus. I mean, because almost all of these movies are pushing 2.5 hours, and the fact that they did keep the runtime under 2, I thought was a very, very good thing. Because if it was, I mean, if it was longer, it certainly would have worn out its welcome. I think that just really quickly touching on the Kyle Chandler thing, I'm pretty sure the reason that he's even in it at all is because it would have been weird for them to have Millie Bobby Brown's character in there and not have Kyle Chandler's character in there. So they just, I think, needed to bring him in just to kind of show like, oh yeah, he's like still alive, like he's still around, and he's her dad, so you know he's trying to get after her. I think the way that they did it was it was a little messy, certainly. Like that didn't really work. I liked the whole kind of, you know, one of the things that I like a lot about the Japanese Godzilla movies is the sort of overt political messaging that a lot of them have, be it like an environmental thing or a war thing or governmental thing. And with the US ones, they usually strip away any kind of like messaging behind it. And that's pretty much the case here. I mean, you have a little bit of a whole kind of mad scientist thing going on with Damian Bashir. But of course, none of that is really, I mean, it's so surface level. It's not really even worth discussing. Really, it's just an excuse to lead to the end, the big climax. Yeah. Just looking at the technical aspects of it, thought the CG was pretty solid. I mean, it's not the best I've ever seen, but I thought it was good. I like the design of Kong. He looks pretty similar to how he did in Kong Skull Island, which I really liked. I really liked Skull Island, by the way. That's the one that takes place in the 70s, and it's basically like it's like a remake of Apocalypse Now, but with King Kong. It's pretty awesome. And I like the design of Godzilla too. I thought the Godzilla looked really good. I liked all the sound design. The fact that they incorporated in Godzilla's theme song in it in some kind of new ways. They like remixed the Godzilla theme. I'm still waiting for them to play the Pharaoh Monch song. Like why won't they ever do that? I think they should definitely play the Pharaoh Monch song.
I don't know.
I feel like it's a missed opportunity. Like play it in the end credits or something, you know? Especially in this movie, because this movie is like it's not a comedy by any stretch, but it's like much less serious than some of the other ones. Like there's like even some comedic bits between Godzilla and Kong, like during the fights, you know, like one of the things that I thought was slightly interesting about this was that the two of them had very distinct personalities in this. They weren't just sort of mindless monsters. Like you could see them working things out and thinking, and they had a lot of expressions, and especially Kong. I mean, they made him a lot more intelligent, and Kong was always intelligent, but they gave him an opportunity to like show off the fact that he could like use strategy and stuff like that in his fights. And I liked all that stuff. I liked the, you know, like the scene when they're like screaming in each other's faces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought that the fights themselves were really satisfying, really fun, just completely badass for the most part. And one of the biggest gripes I had with the last Godzilla movie, really the other one too, is that all the fights took place at night in the rain and you couldn't see a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Most of the fight scenes in this movie take place during the day and you can actually see shit. And even there's a big fight scene that happens in Hong Kong, which I thought looked awesome because it's like they might have overdone it a little bit with the neon, but I still thought it was pretty cool.
I did appreciate though that it started in the daytime and went into the night.
Yeah.
So they had that kind of like transition.
Yeah.
Which I thought was nice.
Even that nighttime fight scene, because there were so many like city lights and stuff, you could still see everything. Like everything was still visible. Unlike the last Godzilla movie, where every fight was in the ocean at night in the rain, and you couldn't make out anything that was going on. Like, you know that there's a cool fight scene happening, but you just can't see it. And I don't know, it was just so frustrating to me because it's not like the original Godzilla movies ever did that. Like, they were pretty much all during the day, you know?
No, it's just, it seems like that's the, like, lighting in movies now is just like non-existent.
Oh yeah.
Like, I feel like that's Hollywood's way of just like, okay, we'll just mask everything. We'll make it dark and rainy, and you won't be able to see. And that way, people can't complain about it.
Yeah,
mask.
I think
that we don't know what we're doing anymore.
It does feel like a cheat, you know. It does feel like they're trying to pull one over on the audience. You got to wonder if, like, you know, several decades from now, because like if you like, there's movies now that when they were shot, like let's say movies that were shot in the early 80s or in the 70s, they weren't really considering things like high definition. So like when you watch it now, like when you watch Terminator, you can see like Arnold's wiener flapping around when in the scene when he first lands, and the scene there. One of my favorite horror movies, Sleepaway Camp. There's a scene when they use one character as a stand-in for the killer, but in high def, you could just see that it's that character, and it completely breaks the movie because nothing makes any sense after that. So I'm wondering if they'll do if something like that will happen. Probably not, but it'd be kind of funny if something like that did happen, and when you watch like Godzilla when it's fighting at night, and it's just like blocks and shapes.
It's just a cardboard box costume. That would be funny if that's what happens, is with like these get remastered 30, 40 years down the road. Because they seem to have that issue now too. A lot of times, a lot of these remasters, they, for some reason, they kind of do it in this like piss yellow, like color tone, like that kind of hue over the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to be like, okay, we're going to brighten up all these movies from the 2020s, and then they just make them absolutely even worse.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it happening.
It'd be like, it would be like when they remaster the Disney animated movies and increase the frame rate, and everything looks so freaking weird and awful. Anyway, back
to Godzilla and Kong. I was a little bit confused at times, not knowing anything about Kong and it being pretty Kong focused. I was figuring, in the billing, Godzilla comes first. I thought this was going to be more of a Godzilla movie, and I think that was the thing that kind of disappointed me a little bit, is like there's not a whole lot of Godzilla.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was expecting going in, because obviously I haven't seen King Kong, which I think you can glean from that I don't really have an interest in King Kong. For the 36 years I've been alive, I've never sought out any of those movies. So I think that was the thing that was disappointing for me. There wasn't enough fighting for me. And I don't know, I didn't really enjoy the fight scenes too much, honestly.
That's unfortunate. I enjoyed it. I thought that the fight scenes were really fun. I agree, though. I'm more of a fan of Godzilla than I am Kong. I've seen a lot of the Godzilla movies. I have that incredible Criterion box set, which I didn't finish it, by the way. I got like probably more than halfway through, but I didn't finish all of them. But yeah, I'm a bigger fan of Godzilla for sure, and I was a little bit disappointed that there wasn't as much Godzilla. This is a very Kong focused movie, and I also get that like Kong is more of a good guy. Like Kong has more personality, and he has a stronger connection to humans. So I can kind of understand that, but I also think that Godzilla can be a good guy too. Let Godzilla be a good guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd still recommend it. I think it's the fact that it's on HBO Max. I think makes it an easy recommend. Although I kind of wish I would have seen this in the theater. I think it would have been a lot more fun in the theater, getting those like D-box seats or whatever.
Yeah.
4DX
would have helped a little bit with the spectacle of it all.
Yeah, I think so. All right, let's go ahead and give it a score. I'm sitting at around a 6 on this one. What are you going to give it?
I'm gonna give it a 3.
3. Unfortunate.
Yeah,
Kevin fucking hated Godzilla versus Kong, people.
there's just a lot of things going against it. I've found out that I was right in my assumption that I wouldn't like King Kong. That's why I've never really had interest in him, and I'm right. Like, I don't really like King Kong.
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of King Kong either. To be clear, like I wasn't. I've seen the original one. I saw the original one in the theater. There was like a repertory screening, and I saw it, and like I'm not a fan. I didn't really like the Peter Jackson one that much. I liked Skull Island, but that felt like a different kind of movie.
I don't know what it is about Skarsgård. He
was a wet noodle in this.
He's ambient in human form.
Yeah, I mean,
like, he shows up, I'm just like, oh my god.
I like him, but yeah, his character was just so blah in this.
Like, he has no charisma.
And then there's some characters like Isa Gonzalez, where it's just like, why? Oh, Lance Reddick was in this? I don't even remember seeing Lance Reddick.
He was just at the end.
Oh, was he?
Kyle Chandler gets the homecoming. Okay. Whatever. He's like, oh, hey, we got it set up. What do you want to do? But Gonzalez, like, she seems to be in every movie now. Like, her agent is just...
She's had a good run.
Yeah. So, like, every movie I seem to put on, she pops up.
I feel like she's got a little bit to learn. She's got to work on her craft a little bit. But yeah, I mean, she's like, looking at her.
Better than Skarsgård.
Yeah, well, I'd probably put them on the same level, honestly. But yeah, she's had a really, really good run lately. It's just, again, I mean, even her, like, the thing is, like, they pack in so many characters in these movies. Like, that's the solution. Like, that's the remedy for this, is to put more characters in. Like, why don't you keep it to like 3 characters and then just work on those characters?
But I think they look at it as like, okay, instead of having a character that, can embody, different facets of a personality, we'll just have more people and they'll each embody one dimension of personality.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, like, all of these movies are structured in the same way, where you have you have pockets of characters, and each of them is on their own little adventure, so that we can frantically cut back and forth between all of these little side plots, so that everything can come together at the end. But the thing is, like, so often the side plots suck. So, like, every time they would cut to Millie Bobby Brown and Brian Tyree Henry's their story, I'm just like, oh god. Well, the life just got sucked out of me again. Right when I was watching Godzilla, like, juice up and shoot his radioactive breath all over the place. Then all of a sudden we cut over to Millie Bobby Brown and Brian Tyree Henry going in some kind of pod to Hong Kong. Like, I give a shit about what they're doing. Either way, fights were fun to me, so it's a light recommend.
I haven't watched a ton of Godzilla movies or Kong movies, so I don't really know. But it felt like the fight sequences in here it felt like Wingard was just kind of like translating like human fights, like what he normally, because they felt like super brutal, and like disgusting. Like Kong's like just smashing someone's skull on a rock and then like rips the head, like. You know what I mean? Like, I would imagine I would see that in a human-based horror movie. I'm not expecting that out of Kong and Godzilla.
You see,
like, going a little bit overkill.
You see more of that in the newer ones. So, like, in King of the Monsters and Skull Island, you see a little bit of that happening. So I think that's like kind of a newer thing. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Shin Godzilla. If you guys haven't seen Shin Godzilla, please.
I think that's the problem too.
Please check it out. I mean,
I've seen that and I know that exists, because I think that what I was thinking the entire time. I'm just like, I could be watching Shin Godzilla right now. God damn it.
I mean, I don't know if it's a controversial opinion or not, but I still think that Shin Godzilla is the best Godzilla. And
yeah, you fucking it's got Wiggly Boy. There's a Wiggly Boy in there. The little fucking Wiggly guy. Are you kidding me?
Wiggly Boy.
He is he's so excited. He's so happy. He doesn't understand, the ramification of his actions. He just wants to see the world,
And I will also like to plug Shin Ultraman that is coming hopefully this year. And I'm really excited for Shin Ultraman because I have a feeling that it's going to be pretty much it's going to be like the same movie, but just in Ultraman form. All right, let's talk about someone we're watching. Kevin, I think it's your turn this week.
Touki Bouki.
Touki Bouki.
Did it.
Finally.
Crossed it off the list.
Been talking about this movie for 12 years.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? I was like, I'm putting it. I had to watch this goddamn Godzilla and Kong. I'm going to watch a movie I want to watch. And I'm finally going to do it. I picked this one because Selena Julie Gobodin is far longer. So I wanted to make sure that I actually had a movie to talk about other than Godzilla and Kong on the podcast. So Touki Bouki, we knocked it out. Criterion Channel has it. It's kind of going into it, I was feeling that this was going to be like kind of lighthearted. I knew that there was going to be, some colonial context to it, it's definitely going to have a political undertones and everything. But what I didn't realize is like this movie starts off with some animal slaughter, like just full on, they're taking the cows to the slaughterhouse.
I hate that.
And it's 70s slaughterhouse in Senegal.
Right.
And it's just
the brutal kind.
Yeah. And the camera's just there. It's just there. And it's understandable because he uses that essentially as the metaphor throughout the movie. And I understand it. It's fine. It's just, it was fucking brutal to watch. Like, and that's, how you're starting off. And it's just like, oh my God. Like I couldn't watch it after a while. I just looked away. But essentially it's lovers on the run in Senegal. This guy has the infamous motorcycle with the cow skull in the front, and his girlfriend is a student in Senegal, and they just decide like we can't take this in. We got to go to France. We got to go to Paris. So they start doing what they need to do in order to scrounge up enough money to get out of Senegal and to try and start a new life in Paris. And it's 1973. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty light, except for the animal stuff. Obviously, it's got little flashes of experimental ideas in here, and overall, it really worked for me. I was right going into it. That kind of putting it off. That I knew I was going to love it. So why bother? And I did. The only thing is I thought I was going to like love this movie and it's going to be his best, but I actually like Hyenas more. But Touki Bouki is still a phenomenal movie.
All right. That's Touki Bouki. You can check that out on the Criterion Channel. That's just fun to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a fun movie to say. I saw The Empty Man. This is directed by David Pryor.
I want to see this.
This is an interesting one, man. So this came out in October of last year, had zero marketing behind it at all. Like, I mean, it came out in theaters. It was only in theaters. So 20th Century Fox just kind of dumped it there, or rather Disney did, because this was one of the last, I believe it was like one of the last movies that 20th Century Fox produced before they were bought by Disney. And I just think that they didn't know what the hell to do with this movie. It is 137 minutes long, so it's way longer than it has any right to be. It is a very bizarre horror movie that has like some kind of thriller elements in it. You know what it reminded me of actually was Kill List, the Wheatley film. Okay. It's got a little bit of that going on, where there's like a mystery element, and then all of a sudden, like, bam, there's like a little bit of a flip to it, and you're just like, whoa, what is going on here? There's like cults in here, and like there's so much
Mhm.
going on in this movie. It is it's baffling. Like I don't even know how to describe what's going on in The Empty Man. First of all, there's a 22-minute prologue before the title card even drops,
Yes.
which is
like everything that you're saying, it just sounds great.
which is actually awesome. I enjoyed what they did with the prologue. The prologue is almost a completely separate movie, by the way. It has completely separate characters, different location, different time period. Like everything is completely separate in the prologue than the main movie. You have James Badge Dale in here in a starring role. I like James Badge Dale a lot, so I'm happy that he was involved in this movie. This is a debut from David Pryor. If you look him up on IMDb, he previously did bonus content on DVDs. So he's like, do you remember that Fight Club DVD that came out? Like back when DVDs started really taking off and they started doing really creative things with DVDs, like the menus and stuff like that. Like he's the guy behind that Fight Club DVD and the 7 DVD.
Yeah, because it looks like he does a lot of stuff for Fincher movies.
Yeah, so he was like, yeah, so he's like kind of, I think, like an apprentice or something, a student of David Fincher's. So he's worked with David Fincher a lot. So there's definite Fincher influence in this movie, but and it's, you know, it's dark. It's got a little bit of a creepypasta vibe. When you see a title like The Empty Man, I think that works against it. Because when you see The Empty Man, you think of Slender Man, you think of the Bye Bye Man, and all of these other awful creepypasta movies that have come out over the last few years. And there is an element of that. It starts out that way, but where it goes is way different. And it's a bit convoluted. Like, there's no doubt about it. It gets very convoluted. You're just like, what the fuck?
No, and I think as soon as you say 137 minutes, I know. I'm like, well, it's definitely convoluted. Like, it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
But I gotta say, I like where it went, and I mean, it's a bold movie, and it's not going to be for everyone, but this is 100% a cult film, and I think that there's going to be a lot of people who find this movie and really love it, and I'll say it's like worth a look. I'd give it like a light recommend, and again, it's called The Empty Man.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's available. It's on VOD now, so you can give it a run on VOD.
I have just a story for you. I tried watching another movie on Tubi finally because I ended up getting a new TV because of Tubi, because my mom is obsessed with Tubi. So she literally bought me, and she didn't tell me. She's just like, "Hey, you have a package coming." And I'm like, what could the package be? And she's like, "Oh, you know what it is." I have no idea, right? And then the package comes. I'm at work. My wife texts me, and she's like, "It's a TV." And I'm like, what the fuck? My mom bought me a TV. You got to be kidding me. And had it delivered to my house. All because she knows that I don't have a smart TV. Or she doesn't. She asks me all the time, and I have to tell her all the time that it's not a smart TV. And because of that, she thinks that I can't get Tubi, even though I continually tell her that I could get it on the PlayStation. I just choose not to. So she decided that I had to have Tubi. So she bought a TV and had it delivered to my house. So I'm no longer, utilizing that 10-year-old, like 30-inch TV. I'm now up to like a 40-inch smart TV.
Oh boy.
So not only that, the Tubi thing continued for weeks. She just kept asking me if I got Tubi yet, because she bought me the TV specifically for that. So I fucking downloaded Tubi. All right, just to get her off my back, essentially. So there's the movie that my wife wants to watch, and guess what? It's on Tubi. So I'm like, wow, I finally get to use Tubi, and I can tell my mom, and she's gonna be so goddamn happy. So the movie's called Let It Snow, from 2020, directed by Stanislav Kaprakolov. And it's a Georgian movie, it's a horror movie, where this woman is like on a ski slopes and there's this like mass snowmobile rider like killing people or whatever. I don't know. It sounds dumb, but I'm for it. So this is the thing with Tubi. So I gotta say, this is my first experience with Tubi, and I can't recommend it because I start the movie, everyone's speaking Georgian, and there's no subtitles. So right away, I'm like, well, this doesn't work. So I, going through the options and everything, I find closed captioning for the Tubi app. I'm like, great, here we go. Click it on, start up the movie again. The narrator says something, and I get a little closed caption. It says, narrator speaking in Georgian. That's it. That's all it says. And I'm just like, okay, maybe I'm just not supposed to know what the narrator says. Fine. So, it's a slow moving. No one's really talking. Finally, the guy slides into a woman on the slopes, and they start talking to each other. When the guy talks, it just, in brackets, it says man. And when the woman talks in a bracket, it just says woman. And that's it.
So incredible.
And I'm just like, oh, what? So, I mean, if you're Georgian, I guess Tubi's, you can watch Let It Snow. That's great for you. But I got to say, my first experience with Tubi, it did not go well.
I just don't like that they have awkward ad placement in there. Like you'll be watching something on there and then it just like an ad pops in like in the middle of a scene, and that bothers me.
Yeah, they don't do a good job with placements. I do like that they give you the heads up that they're like, hey, it's going to be an ad break in 8 seconds. I thought that was nice.
I think it's so funny that your mom really loves Tubi. Like, out of all of the people, like, who, like, is she maybe there's a big Tubi fan base, but to me it seems like she's the only person in the world who just really loves Tubi.
And she does, because she literally, I showed you the text message where it's like, you literally bought me a TV just because of Tubi. You got to be kidding me. And she was like, you got to get Tubi. And then like, the next day she was like, did you set up your TV yet? Did you download Tubi? And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Fine. So I set up the TV. 2 days later, I talked to her. She's like, did you get Tubi yet, by the way? And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me with this Tubi.
Most popular movies on Tubi: Blood Diamond, Tyler Perry's Medea's Tough Love. That's looks like an animated movie. Queen of the Damned, Problem Child, Cradle to the Grave, and The Intruders. So that's what we're dealing with on Tubi.
But the surprising thing, which I love this with Letterboxd, if you go into your watch list or whatever and you use that service, they actually do have some stuff buried in there. Like, they have some surprising movies that are on there. But it seems like they just got them like with Let It Snow, maybe they didn't realize that it was a Georgian movie and they just threw it on there. They're like, perfect, this is a horror movie. Not realizing that no one can watch it unless you speak Georgian.
I think what they do is they strike deals with different companies and they get the streaming rights to like a package of like 100 movies, and they just dump it. They just dump it on their service, and then that's the end of it. And they just use like the movie database to pull in like the poster and stuff like that, because you'll see like the poster for a lot of these movies is like not the actual, it's just some like fan made poster or some shit. It's like not the real one.
That's the game changer with Letterboxd for me, is that you don't have to like look through these services anymore.
Yeah, because they partner with Just Watch.
It's so much nicer now. Because that's the thing. Tubi has stuff. It's just, are you going to sit there and go through all of Tubi's God knows how many pages?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's talk about some of what we got going on VOD this week. On the 6th, we have Embryo. Kevin and his girlfriend Evelyn are camping in the woods when she's abducted and impregnated by otherworldly beings.
Oh, shit, for real?
Yeah. The entity begins to grow at a rapid rate. Why is it that they always grow at a rapid rate anytime that there's like an alien impregnation?
Because
They don't got time. They don't got time
Yeah,
to
you
wait
don't got
9
time.
months.
You can't have a 7-hour long movie called Embryo.
I wish
Can't
they
be
would
out
just
in
get
the
rid of
woods for
that, and
9 months.
from now on, anytime there's an alien that impregnates someone, that it lasts like a year, or a demon. You know, they do it with demons too.
That would be interesting, is to flip it and you get impregnated by aliens, but the whole process actually takes like 6 years instead of 9 months, or whatever this one takes.
Yeah,
just make it really long, and you got to deal with that shit for like 6 years.
But you get impregnated when you're like 30, so then there's like all of this concern about like, am I going to be healthy enough by the time I've come to term with this thing?
Yeah,
I like that idea. We got Running Naked coming out. This is love, friendship, and streaking. There you go.
Sure.
Space Dogs, Tropical Adventure. It's an animated movie. On the 9th, we have The Last Rite. New York-based Daniel Murphy wakes on a flight to Ireland to find elderly passenger Padraig has died in the next seat. Okay. We also have Hollow Point. This looks like an action movie. It's a pretty generic action movie. We got My True Fairy Tale. Terrific balance between mysterious and hopeful. Held. To survive, they must obey. Looks like it's maybe a home invasion thriller. Yeah, it looks like they're forcibly trapped inside by an automated security system.
In an isolated vacation rental. The old Airbnb.
Yeah. Might check it out. Why not? City of Lies comes out. This is with Johnny Depp and Forrest Whitaker.
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for VOD this week. As always, check on the calendar for the latest updates. Sometimes these don't pop up until like, a day or two before they get released. On Blu-ray this week, we have Rollerball from 1975, Thundar the Barbarian, the complete series. What? Thundar? Some classic...
Say that again?
Thundar, some classic 80s animation. I kind of miss that animation style. Like that kind of Hanna-Barbera. I feel like everything now, everything is like that CalArts style now, which is fine, but just, I want to go back to the old school days sometimes. Got Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar.
Nice.
Yeah, I recommend that if you haven't seen that yet. The Killer Elite from 1975. Earwig and the Witch. That's the Studio Ghibli one. That's the first CG Studio Ghibli. Does not look good, man. Unfortunately, I didn't see the movie. I saw the trailer, and with Ghibli, it's like you expect this level of quality that's just above everything else.
Yeah.
And I'm just not seeing it with this. Like, the CG does not look very good to me. Could be wrong, but... No. We got Shadow in the Cloud. That's the one with Chloe Grace Moretz. I would recommend this. This is a pretty fun B movie. Tremors in 4K coming out. This is an Arrow release.
Yes.
Obviously recommend that.
Canon.
Yeah. We have Death Has Blue Eyes from 1976. That's also an Arrow release. There's a box set of Western classics coming out that includes 3 movies. These look like movies that Kino is putting this out, so they're probably good. But it also, at the same time, looks like one of those DVDs that you'd pick up at Walgreens that come in like the thin cases, the little slim DVD cases, and they're like all public domain.
Yes.
We have Sleepless from 2001, How High from 2001. Did you hear about DMX?
I did. I saw that just before.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Also, Earwig and the Witch is also getting a Steelbook edition, which looks really cool, but yeah, again, not sure about the movie itself. Tap Roots from 1948, The Delicious Little Devil from 1919. That is an old school. The The Man in Search of His Murderer from 1931. The Reckoning from last year. Let's see. Doors. This is a sci-fi movie that came out a couple weeks ago. Doesn't look very good. The Last Days from 1998. Blast Fighter from 1984. Whoa, Blast Fighter. I like the name of that. Yeah. Oh man, it's a Lamberto Bava too, so it looks like a Polizzi movie. A former policeman sets out to unleash violent vengeance upon deer poachers when they rape and kill his long-lost daughter.
Jesus Christ, that took a turn. You said deer poachers, and I'm like, that's interesting. That's different. But then it just circles back to rape, as usual.
Yeah. I might still give this one a look. Blast Fighter. I love that title.
What else is it called? Because I'm typing in Blast Fighter and I'm getting nothing. Oh, it's all one word. Okay.
Yeah, it's one word. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Jake Tiger Sharp.
We got Little Miss Parker from 1980. That's pretty much it. What about Criterion's this week?
0.
All right.
Big old egg.
Big goose egg, huh?
Big old goose egg.
All right. Okay. Well, there's still plenty of Blu-ray stuff to check out there. I mean, Tremors. Tremors alone.
Tremors. You got 2 different versions of Earwig and the Witch. You got to pick both of those up. Gotta compare them.
Gotta compare those cases. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. Follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, consider giving us a review on iTunes. We'd appreciate that very much. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.